because his delivery is. I don't know. Since you compared him to Mozzie, I don't think he's actually as talented as Mozzie is.
And welcome to Conscious Reconstruction, the show where you get your mind reconstructed. I'm here with the usual gang plus one.
Yo.
We got Big Charles in the building. Sir Charles, Big C Dog, aka JC, Just Charles.
You're not gonna let that go, are you?
Nope, that's what you told me to call you.
That's like a nice cologne.
Just Charles.
I appreciate that. That means I smell nice.
Just Charles.
The whisper though. The whisper though.
How else you gonna say that shit? Don't know everybody be like Just Charles and fucking cologne commercials.
No,
Well,
that
that
because
make
it
me an
didn't be like
Axe
Axe.
commercial, and
Yeah,
that'll make
the Axe commercial. Just Charles.
Yeah, our election ones be like whiskey or like. Yeah,
The way
like,
you
I'm
say
not
it
nigga.
depends on the commercial type.
I'm not nigga like.
Or snap into a Slim Jim, but no, don't eat me. So,
I'm gonna say no, don't eat me.
I mean, I don't want to be eaten.
Well, we have a great show for you. We got some mental health and wellness issues to talk about later on today. We got some wonderful
I don't believe none of this.
relationship and relating aspects to engage in and talk about why Charles is wrong. And we're gonna start with Jones, like we always do in science.
Man, they bullshitting me.
Okay.
All right, so I was talking shit about the T-Rex earlier, right? This isn't right. All right, so I was talking shit about T-Rex earlier, right? Because they keep discovering these things about the T-Rex and everything the scientists figure out. Oh, it's too close. Okay, everything scientists figure out about the T-Rex makes the T-Rex seem less threatening. So, particularly what I was talking about was, what this is about their legs. Basically saying their legs aren't useful for speed. Essentially, it was made for them to be able to travel long distances because, they're like 40 feet long and about 10 feet tall. So, wide steps, tall people, long legs. But I was making a joke earlier about the T-Rex because he had little arms. And then I decided to go look and try to figure out what the little arms were about. And don't nobody know what the little arms were about.
So they're saying their arms was useless? Like, why?
I mean, kind of. In the sense that, like, because some animals through evolution, I can't think of one specifically off the top of my head. I guess maybe, no, snakes aren't a good example. But they'll evolve to a point in which, like, certain things would become useless. So if the T-Rex would have survived long enough to evolve to a point and didn't get wiped out and, life started over on the planet, it probably would have got to a point in which the arms were pretty much not there because they were useless. What people believe.
I mean,
But the things they feel the arms were used for were like gripping during mating, pushing the
Come here, girl.
but that's like so awkward because it's like you got to get your head out the way. It's just like, hey, come here, girl. Come here, girl. Hey, girl. The back of your head look ridiculous.
He said the back of your head look ridiculous. Yes.
You mount her from behind.
But they lay eggs, Tony.
No, you mount her from behind and you grip her in the back.
He said grip her in the back. That's what you're on it
You grip her in the back.
because you're on top, so you're gripping, so you don't move. And they get your grip. Because,
You're
like,
just holding on and you're sitting up there.
She's like, y'all know
watching
better.
her lay his
I'm not gonna
eggs.
challenge y'all on how that works.
but that was only for the males, right? So, but other than that, it was like when they're laying down or like when they're not standing up, they used to like push themselves up, kind of like leverage themselves to get up, and gripping when they finally get something down to like hold it down, which kind of seems like they can't do. Which makes me feel like they weren't hunters anyways, because there's the whole hunters versus scavengers thing, in which it's like, oh, well, T-Rex weren't hunters, they were scavengers because they was too big and slow to hunt anything. Like, all right, well, y'all just making this nigga seem so terrible.
You just probably look at this nigga like, if you don't sit your big ass down,
Right, nigga,
T-Rex,
get outta
you
here.
can't do shit.
Like, all we got to do is walk at a decent pace
Did
and
I?
they'll never catch up.
I feel like I moved up like this.
No, I moved it away from you for a reason.
I feel like I like leaned forward. That's what happened.
It's loud, nigga.
I'm sorry.
Like, look at you. You all over the charts and shit.
Oh damn,
Oh, yes.
that's the loudest I've been.
Right?
Yep.
What?
Oh, he's
I'm
enjoying
usually
himself.
The loud one, but you can take it over because you can have that crown.
All right, yeah, that's all I had to say about T-Rexes. Though T-Rexes, they just, oh man,
You
just
win.
can't catch a break.
no, they can't.
I mean,
Eventually,
they're
next
dead.
thing you know, they're gonna be like, they weren't even predators for real. They were the vultures of the land.
Oh,
They're dead.
that'll be so. Then, like, who was? I mean, there were dinosaurs that were technically better predators because it's like they're the things with like the giant bridge on his back. Or I forget the name of the goddamn thing.
You're talking about Spinosaur.
Yeah, a Spinosaur. I think those were technically better murderers. And
They
I guess
were.
raptors
They
were-
just. There was actually. They just did a report on them like maybe like 3 weeks ago, talking about how Spinosaurs were more aquatic hunters than land hunters because they had web feet. They would have had web feet. And the cell, well, the cell doesn't have anything to do with.
Oh,
them
yeah.
hunting. The
That's-
cell has to do with them heating their bodies.
That's an example of what you were looking for earlier. How a lot of things, like got rid of gills because they didn't need them because
Yeah.
they were primarily land hunters.
Mhm.
So it's like the gills were useless. That means that they evolved out of having gills or
Yeah.
past them.
Essentially. So.
I wish I had gills that only worked underwater. Like they only activated with ocean.
Bro, you know what I'd do if I had
You just walk
gills?
around.
If
No
I
doubt.
had gills,
Nobody know you had gills.
if I had gills, fuck all that forest talk, nigga. I'm gonna live in the ocean. No, I'm not living in the ocean. Ocean dangerous.
Dude, he was almost there. I'm like, oh, he's almost got it. He's
No, nope. I'm going
It's
to the. I'm
just
going
like-
to
gotta
the
give it that
Well,
last
going to the
part.
tree.
The
see?
weird thing
Nope,
about
the
it is,
ocean
it's just
dangerous.
like we're not equipped to actually live in the ocean. Like,
Nah, fuck that. If I
in
had
terms
gills,
of
I could live in the
barometric-
shallow water. It's just that
barometric
ocean's
pressure.
just dangerous, man. There's too much shit in the ocean, man.
Like you'll go live in the,
There.
you'll go live in Lake
God.
Erie, and I still feel like Lake Erie. is
I'm not
dangerous.
living in Lake
I'm
Erie.
not living in
I'm
Lake
going to
Erie.
the ocean.
Gross.
I'm not
You're
going to
just
be
gonna
landlocked.
get eaten.
I'm too wild for that.
You're just gonna get eaten, and not even consumed. Well, you're not even gonna get eaten. You're just gonna get killed and probably like left there. It's like you're not gonna eat me. No,
Mm-mm.
no, we don't eat humans. Aquaman told us to kill you. Or probably Namor, but really.
All right, so along these historical things, right? So recent science, I don't know why scientists are researching this, but I found it was interesting. They believe that men originally had like facial hair and beards to like them thick beards to take the impacts of punches and from fighting when we were. It's weird because usually I gotta lean up to talk into it because it'll catch my voice. So I'm so
Strong mic.
all right. It is a strong mic.
mic.
Yeah, he was strong. So you did it
This
right.
my strong mic anyway. So yeah, basically they're talking about how it was possibly like back in like our pre-civilization times when we were more aggressive and we fought over things instead of like trading and talking and using weapons. Beards originally came out of that, and it also dual purpose as like heating or insulation, you know, hair does in general.
Beards were like, if you had a beard, you were in charge.
No, it was more like if you had a beard, and like beards were like impact. It was like kind of like how rams, right?
Punches.
It yeah, because the beard like it would spread out the energy of the initial blow, making it so you wouldn't to like
What was your
take breaking
hair
draws and
made
whatnot.
out of?
So if
You ever
Really?
seen you ever seen a nigga with a real coarse beard?
you know, that
Yeah,
makes
but it's
me
like
happy.
wiry
That
instead
makes
of
me
like
happy.
Yeah.
it's wiry, but not like I feel like it could take some like impact.
I mean-
that's why I'm confused. About.
Because it hasn't taken impact in.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
yeah,
evolved
like
to
yeah.
this shit.
Now it's just hair
No,
for
it
like,
just need to be
like
hair.
that's why I said it's like dual purpose, like warmth and stuff now,
You know what
Oh.
I think? I think
because that's what the initial purpose of body hair is
two
for.
sets of humans, and there was the dumb humans that was punching each other in the face, and all the people that can grow facial hair evolved from those ones. And then there was the other humans that had a more evolved sense of communication that did involve punching you in the
I can
face.
see you now. Like,
And that's why
dumbasses
we
over
didn't
there.
grow. And that's why there's people that can't grow facial hair.
Okay, I'll
Like
take
me and
that.
Charles.
Y'all grow facial hair. Just because you cut it off doesn't mean you don't grow it, my nigga.
No, this is me after 3 weeks.
Yeah, this is for a while.
This is legitimately like
Okay, so beards were.
The only reason we
Like,
do
you
this
see-
is because we intermingled with y'all species throughout
You
the
really just trying to
centuries.
justify his baby ass face. Okay.
Essentially.
look.
Gotta
Stop
justify
making
his
fun of
baby
us.
My
face.
baby face is lit.
Ain't nobody making fun of you.
Oh yeah.
You just said the words. You
Clearly,
just
like, no, they, y'all
Oh, no.
like
Oh, no.
clearly it was
I
like,
didn't
nah,
think
this shit manly as fuck at one
I
point.
didn't think that she was making fun of me.
No, no.
Because my shit is lit. I don't care about that. Like, I know I'm attractive. I was just saying that y'all evolved from...
Or it'd be compared to something like a lion's mane, in which how the reason the lion has that thick mane is to protect the neck from being bit at, because cats go for the throat.
Protected y'all from getting punched in the face.
and I kick people in the
You get
face, so
knocked
it
out. That's why
doesn't
you need the
matter.
bushy sideburns to protect that temple. Protect that
What?
sweet spot in the jaw. That's so they don't know the judge the distance. They don't know where that real jaw is at. His hair.
That is true. You ever look at a nigga with like real full
Yeah, we're gonna
beard?
talk about it.
You don't know where
actually.
that. You literally don't know where this is
Yeah.
under a beard.
I can pretty much approximate.
I mean, yeah, you could judge, but like,
It's not gonna be a dead on, so you might.
I'll aim for
Well, it
the
really
look,
just
man,
kind of
if I
depends
had to.
upon the angle that you're coming from. Unless they got
Charles,
like a real
Charles,
round
let
jaw.
me stop you right now. We're talking about Neanderthals and cavemen. They not doing angles. They just swinging.
I feel like there are people who can instinctively fight, and they look at that boy and it's just like, you know what? I punched a lot
Mm-hmm.
right on the chin,
Yeah,
and they
fight.
got knocked the fuck out.
And
And
that's
then
why we
I'll be
evolved
the-
from him. You know what? Maybe we evolved from better fighters that just didn't need.
Hit the beard no more.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're blessed. I'm like, I don't need no beard. Fuck that shit.
Yeah,
My
I'm knocking
DNA
it
was
out.
like, fuck it.
it was just like,
Fuck
you
a
better
beard,
figure
nigga.
this out.
I wish a nigga would hit me. See my chin? Shit, right here. It's right here. What you gonna do?
It's either that or we all like or no beard havers all just have tough chins. That means we didn't need it to begin with. I still have never been knocked out.
Chin ass nigga.
Me neither.
All right. Well, you know.
I feel like most people haven't been knocked out because they don't go around getting punched.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about in Fight Club. I watched Fight Club the other day. It's like most people are just generally like don't want to get hit. They don't want to get hit. When he was picking on the fucking priest, they was like, "Oh, go out and start a fight." And this nigga was out like cleaning something, and he takes the water hose and he sprayed at the priest, and like he keep doing it because that was the job. Like he just kept spraying. The father, like, until he hit this nigga, like the priest picked up, like he hit him with this like bitch ass hit. He was like, "I'm tired of this shit," and then they started scrapping. I'm like, all right.
There are
Like,
so many people who don't know how to throw a punch.
Mm-hmm.
Like you actually have to hit with these like your actual middle and
Or you can
like-
hammer fist.
yes. Or honestly,
could
the best
hammer
place
fist.
to actually hit someone with is the palm of your hand.
Well, yeah, but hammer fist is nice too because you won't break your fingers.
True,
That
but you're
also-
still like you can still miss and actually catch this pinky, and that'll reject that.
Wait a
that's
minute,
just
what?
terrible
So you
idea.
hit like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hammer fist.
Like
Like
you don't actually want to punch people at all. It's a terrible idea.
yeah, that's a hammer fist is good if you have some decent aim because you're just gonna smack with this really.
Wait a minute, so like that, that martial arts style, that what's his name? He was in Ong Bak. What's his name? Tony Jaa. When he hit with his
Oh,
elbows,
Muay Thai.
what did that do?
Oh,
fucks you up.
reduces
I know it
the
fucks you up, but like, why do they choose this part?
Reduce
I thought it was
surface
so
area.
sensitive. Why would you
Because
not?
it's so small.
and they go through specific training to actually harden and like they create microfractures within their bones to the point where they
I
can
was
actually
really
do
confused
that.
about that for the longest time.
Same
Like,
thing with
nigga,
the
I don't hit my
legs.
elbows on the corner and stuff, and I cry.
You have, like they kick specifically with a part of the leg that no one ever wants to kick with because they kick with their shin, and they just create microfractures. They can kick down banana trees.
Okay.
It's wild.
That is wild.
Yeah, I want to learn Muay Thai, but there's no good Muay Thai schools out here.
You end up going to MMA schools, and majority of them are not actually Muay Thai schools.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want MMA. I want Muay Thai.
Like
I want to.
Muay Thai is for
You
killing
train in,
people.
like, the jungle and shit. That's
Could you
dope.
smack your knees with bamboo sticks? Well,
If
not
you
your
leave
knees,
for
but
3
your
months, I
shins.
understand.
Yeah.
And go to the
Kick
jungle and
bananas.
train. Can you do that?
No, I have to.
Right now, no,
Why not?
I have to do shows.
because plague.
I 100% support you going to the jungle and learning from like the real small ass jungle niggas and learning Muay Thai. Like I support that. 100%.
I mean, they don't let us travel places right now.
just
We
got a
are the
whole
pariahs
ass
now.
idea.
It's like they
Go.
got down to one case of CVO COVID-19 inside of Thailand. It was weird. They handled it better than we did.
I gotta support Tony Stream to come up with TIE Fighter, and I'm the first one that did it.
Oh,
All right, so the sun, right?
it's hot.
I don't want to talk about the sun. All right, so blind people, right?
Okay.
I got a lot here, all right, because I got stuff from last week too. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So blind people,
All right.
they've been they gave these blind people these implants on their minds, on their brains, right? That allows them to send electrical pulses. And they did this on people who were blinded in their adulthood. And basically what they were doing was testing to see if they would be able to see what was being drawn using the electrical pulses. So they would start like something like simple like drawing an A. And they'd be able to see the A in their mind's eye.
Ooh.
So it'd be something kind of like how Daredevil sees.
Don't he go off vibration though?
Yeah, he goes off of like echolocation,
Echolocation.
but like the way he sees though, not like the way he.
So
Ben Affleck, Daredevil, like the rain thing.
Yeah, like just the way he sees, not the way he takes the information in.
Yeah.
okay.
Just the way he views it. So like when they show like images like from his point of view, he'd see like it look like an echo type thing. Them drawing on your mind looks kind of like that. So people that have seen the shapes before, the reason they use people that are blinded in adulthood is because they've had vision before, so they'd actually know what they're seeing, opposed to someone that's never seen before. So drawing an A in someone's mind that's never seen before, it's like you did something, I don't know what that is though. Basically, this they're going to try to use this to restore vision and help people be able to see.
I like that.
Hey,
And things
human
along those lines.
experimentation.
Side note, I was watching Justice League Dark, and they zoomed in on Constantine, and when they came in on the little apocalypse, I thought he was blind because he had like white. Like, when the fuck they blind my nigga Constantine? Then he wasn't blind.
I'm
He
saying,
does have demon blood running through his body.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's how you
know
can
that.
cast spells.
That shit was
I'm a nerd.
weird. I'm like, why is this nigga blind?
It's like-
What did I miss?
The sheer amount of
He wasn't
information.
blind.
It's always weird.
Nah,
when
it's just
people
some demon
post things
eyes.
to me, and then I'm like, man, why do I have all this information? It's useless.
so yeah, we're gonna roll this into the next story. So scientists, right, last week
Real scientists.
have generated millions of mature human cells inside of
Mature
mice.
ones?
Inside of mice.
Ooh, that's some grown up ass mice.
Why did you make the biker mice from Mars? Like, why does that need to be a thing?
Well, realistically, what they're doing, and actually that rolls into the next story, which is about them creating mice that are 4% human. Yeah.
Like,
I just be bored as fuck, nigga.
No, so look, right. I'm gonna tell you the reason. This is the reason they gave for
Bored
creating
as
these
fuck.
mice, right? They're creating these mice, and these mice are technically chimeras, technically, by the term of the word, because they're human and mice. Basically, the reason they're creating these mice is because they do a whole lot of experimentation and testing on drugs and things like that on mice. So the more the mice are like human, the more, I guess, the better the results are. And the reason they can get away with doing this, because, they made the chimera monkey pig thing or human monkey thing like last year, at the end of last year, and they had to cut that short 3 months in because they was like, oh, this might be half human. We can't do that. Can't give this thing rights. So
Fucking bored.
the difference between this is these mice, they don't start growing the human cells until after they develop and after the embryo develops. So it'd be like their heart, their liver, their lungs, and things like that have human cells in them, but they're still majority mice. And the human cells also don't affect the sperm or the egg, and that's what separates it from the chimera monkey that they were trying to make a couple months ago.
this sounds like a Spider-Man villain.
The worst part is though, I'm thinking about this. I'm like, man, y'all need to stop, because next thing you know, y'all gonna make mice smart.
Mouse man came
That
out with
actually
an
be
issue.
terrifying.
because,
Mice will
like,
eat you.
Exactly. My thing is, like, you let mice, let one of these mice get out and they start breeding, and one of these mice start breeding with the natural population of mice. That means now you got all these mice that have human cells in them, and over time that will develop, and we don't know what the fuck these mice gonna turn into.
They need
You
something
just
else
gonna
to
end
do.
up with New York mice.
Can we give scientists a set thing to worry about? I feel like it's
They
a lot
have
bigger
a set
problem.
thing.
I
to
mean,
worry
in their
about.
mind, this was this whole situation was to advance human technology
Fucking
and whatnot.
biologists, they need to stop.
It's not even the biologists that are really. Yeah, it's the y'all know it's the biologists.
It's like, what are you gonna say? It's the chemist.
I definitely was. I had to stop myself. Like, it's the goddamn chemist. No, it's not. It's not the
It's like,
chemist. That's not.
They
who
out
it
there.
is.
They're out there. Walter whitening it up. They got meth to make.
No, the chemists are in that shit. But no, it's the biologists with the CRISPR and the whatnot. Oh, CRISPR.
Fucking
CRISPR.
take your ass somewhere and stop fucking around with things.
No, they're not going to stop doing that, Charles. That's crazy. But yeah, we got 4% human mice.
Mouse man, issue 52.
Give it literally. I'm telling you, give it
Teenage Mutant Ninja Mice.
20 years. We're going to have rice that's 10%. And one going to get out. And they're not going to tell nobody because they not going to know. Because mice are, they just slip. They mice. They get in, they get out. That's what they do.
That's what they do.
You know what it's
man,
going
it
to
was
be?
a 10%
No, fuck
mouse.
that. No. It's going to be Pinky in the brain. It's going to be Pinky in the brain.
Dude.
All right. So, next story. So our son is going into a lockdown.
I heard about
Oh, hooray. Somebody's
Yeah.
reducing your solar activity finally?
Kinda. It's going into its it's basically going into its low cycles in which our solar activity is going to drop.
Less sunspots.
People have been talking about it a lot because they're like, oh my god, we're going to hit another ice age
No.
because the sun's going into a lockdown. Nah, we're not going to hit an ice age. Like I said, it's actually a little bit safer for us as a planet that the sun's going into a lockdown because the sun's less active, meaning it's not throwing out solar flares. We ain't got them crazy sunspots that interrupt our electronics and fuck with our daily lives and whatnot. What's crazy though is you would figure the sun would go into a lockdown and we'd get colder. No. It just means the sun's activity is going to chill a little bit.
All about
Now-
the radiation.
You said what?
It's a lot about the radiation and stuff like that, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
More or less. And then, so people don't trip. I know, like you said, you heard about it. It's something that's out there. People are like, oh my God, the sun's locking down. We're going to go into the second ice age. Well, if we go into a second
I
ice age.
wish.
If we go into the second ice age, it's showing hell ain't going to be the sun's fault. It's going to be ours.
You just panic over everything.
Or one of these mass
Everything's a fucking
volcanoes
big deal.
explode. That could do it. Like if Yellowstone went off or, hell, if the Ring of Fire went off. Regardless.
We
could go into
don't
an ice
talk about
age and it won't be the
impending
sun's
dooms.
fault. You said what?
Leave the impending dooms where we're at. Where
Eh,
they're
you
at.
know.
Over there. Impending.
I'm not talking about them this week.
Such a
But-
nihilist.
We need impending doom.
They're also scared though.
Set it on
No,
fire.
what they're really scared about
Alright,
though
sir.
about the sun going into a lockdown is famine.
Yeah, that's what I saw. And they were afraid they weren't getting any more food.
Yeah,
No, that's not the way that.
they're scared that the sun
Less
going into a
food.
lockdown means less sunlight, less stronger sunlight, and all those things along the lines that plants need to grow and blah blah blah.
Nah.
But basically, people are scared that we're gonna have less food. And our crop yields and things are gonna be smaller, and the world's gonna go into a famine.
Not the way that works.
I know, but that's what people are scared of.
It's like, I was gonna say, like, have none of you taken astronomy, but that's not a normal thing to be able to say. So, I'm gonna shut up.
Astronomy. It really ain't. Always somebody, have you ever taken astronomy, Ash? No.
It was an elective at our school.
Okay.
It was a class you could
Good
choose to
old
take.
fucking education. You know what I did in school? I
What?
skipped a lot of it.
Oh, so did we.
I did too.
We were sitting right there on the front
How
lawn
many days
of the
of school
school.
did y'all skip? Did they ever tell you? Somebody had to sit down and tell me, like,
Mm-hmm.
you've missed 90% of school.
Not I. See,
Somebody sat me down and was like, no, you've
my
not
mother
been
would
here
have
for more than
murdered
half the
me.
year.
Now,
I missed 77 days in 3 months.
Damn, you got me beat by 4. 73.
see,
But anyways.
no, he was no. See, that's a story that probably needs to be told. He was the type of person where teachers went around looking at us to find him.
Niggas would tell me, go, damn, Ash here today? Yeah. I'm here, y'all.
You out there in the streets?
I made it.
All right, so no, though. So along with this, sun going into a freeze, our magnetic field has been weakening, and we can't figure out why the fuck. Which really isn't a good thing.
That's interesting.
Also,
means we're, like,
this
it's
also
wrong.
falls in line with me slowly feeling like the planet is slowly gonna take us out, and these are all steps. Because think about it. Remember, I was talking about how the rainforest decided they ain't gonna suck up carbon no more. And now the magnetic fields, which is our main defense against all these asteroids and things that are flying at us,
That's
are weakening
crazy.
around the hemispheres.
Burrow on the ground. See, now you need a mice man. See? Nope. See? Science was right. You need a mouse man to dig yourself
Are
on the
there-
ground.
is it
But
around
at the same
two?
time, us having a magnetic
My
field
field.
weakening also aligns with the sun going into a lockdown, because if the sun was not in lockdown doing what it was doing and our magnetic field weakened, that means we'll be more susceptible to all the bullshit that the sun's constantly throwing out that astronauts deal with being outside of the atmosphere,
Oh.
like the cosmic rays and all that bullshit and all that
Means
radiation.
We're like this far away from just being Mars, because the only reason why Mars doesn't have an atmosphere is because of a lack of magnetic field.
I'm about to mutate. Fuck that.
But yeah, if like he just said, if our planet's core stopped moving, we wouldn't have a magnetic field, and we'd just slowly become Mars.
I'm gonna look that shit up. That's amazing.
Like, it's pretty actually easy to get an atmosphere on Mars, because you could just nuke Mars and get an atmosphere.
Oh, that
Ain't it
seems
already
really
atmosphere
quickly.
there,
Charles,
but it's
Charles,
not really
Charles,
an
what?
atmosphere
I've
for
watched
humans?
like 6 videos that broke down the science of you nuking Mars, and we don't have enough nukes to nuke Mars to build an atmosphere.
Ooh, man.
We
That
don't.
sounds like a challenge that America is
Bruh,
up to the task.
bruh, okay, then go watch Because Science nuking Mars, because Elon Musk talked about, because that was Elon Musk's idea.
I don't
And
trust Elon Musk at all.
I'm not telling, but it was his idea to do that. So the dude, the Because Science episode was the best explanation I got of it. You watch that, he'll break it down and explain to you how many nukes that you would need to nuke Mars to get that going, and how you would have to constantly do it, and how there's no fucking way in hell we have enough materials to make that amount of nukes to be able to create that atmosphere on Mars.
Just hit up Iran.
No, I'm
you
talking
talking
about
about the world
I'm
as
talking
a
about the
whole?
world as a whole.
We don't have enough.
No, we
already.
don't have enough to make the amount that we need to constantly be firing at Mars, because you couldn't just do it in one shot. You'd have to do it over a amount of time, constantly firing them.
Well, that sounds like we need some new. No, we don't need new bomb making technology. I take that back.
Paperclip. No, we don't need that. We don't need more weapons. Okay, so yeah, that was that whole situation though. Tony, you might like this one, especially since Ghost in the Shell just came out,
Oh God.
or Ghost in the Shell just went English.
Remember when Tony was mad that that shit was on? What was it wrong? The subtitles was fucked up or something?
Oh no, it just
Subtitles
wasn't dubbed.
It wasn't dubbed.
Oh, so y'all can understand shit that was going on.
Well, we could read it, but it's not an anime.
We didn't want to read it. And I felt like if you gonna give it to us on Netflix, and Netflix original, it should be at least be in fucking English.
My issue isn't even that. Like, I've watched anime on Netflix that's been in Japanese completely, only subtitled. No problem. But if you give me the fucking trailer in English with all of the characters
I never saw the
speaking-
trailer in
yeah,
English.
the trailer is in English. When you go over and just hover over the video, it plays in English. So why the fuck when I go to the episodes were they only in Japanese? That doesn't make sense. That means you recorded them and decided not to release them. I want to fight you.
And keep in mind, this is a complicated as fuck anime. So, like,
Yeah.
you understanding exactly what they're saying and you misunderstanding one word can change the entire context of what the heck is going on. And then,
But they don't care about that.
I mean, it's Netflix. They kind of care. They care about getting that guap. But anyway,
Netflix is lazy.
A little bit. Okay, so like I was saying though, Ghost of the Shell, Bionic Eye, right? So this what they fucking with right now. So built of course in Hong Kong because that's what China be doing. They call it the ECI. It has a assortment of tiny sensors that mirror the photoreceptor cells that we have in our eyes, and it's made of aluminum and tungsten, shaped like a half sphere, and that's why I bring up Ghost in the Shell because I can't think of his name, but he essentially has the bionic eyes.
Bato.
Yeah. And that's what me looking at the picture, that's what the actual bionic eye looks like. Except for it doesn't have like the red, it's like blue in the middle, bluish gray.
Oh, that's not Bato. That's God. What the heck is? That's not important.
Oh,
It's like I had to stop myself because I was about to go on a tangent.
The prototype version has 100 pixels, which can distinguish between letters and whatnot, and basically they're going to use it for robots in the future, but for its main production right now, it's made to try to get people their eyesight back in general.
That seems like a backwards goal. We're gonna use it for robots in the future, but
Because
right now,
literally the first thing it says in the article talking about the shit is like it could be all augmented to use in robots because it's as sensitive as a human eye.
I wonder if there's a way of getting like the nerves and whatnot inside of someone's eye to match up to a device and then have that transmit from each.
That's what this is. That's essentially what this is doing.
Huh.
I just didn't get to that part yet.
Jump
But that's essentially what it's doing because it has the electrodes on the end of, and the electrodes link up with your nerves or those connectors or receptors in your eyes, and the bionic eye essentially replicates an actual eye with the photoreceptor cells. They say about 5 years.
All right, cool.
Because it's at a prototype state right now.
That's bad.
So yeah, you can get you some bionic eyes out here.
It's really all about the cyber brain. Tell me when you can get the cyber brain, and when we can get cyber brains, we're all good. We're all immortal.
They're working on it. They're still trying to map out the brain cybernetically. So when they figure that out, then you'll be able to do that. Because they can't create. Because once they figure that out, they'll be able to make artificial brains and things that be able to hold people's memories and all, consciousness and things of that sense.
Man.
And people will be able to hop bodies then at that point. And it'd be literally Ghost in the Shell. Like Ghost in the Shell is only set, 20 years in the future?
Oh yeah.
It's set in 2045.
Yeah. Man.
But yeah, that's bionic
immortality.
Yeah, but yeah, they said about 5 years it should go into production or
Gotta get off the planet.
start getting on.
I mean, if we just become robots, what do we really care about, like
The
breathing
planet.
and stuff?
Yeah, I don't want asteroids to hit it.
It's okay, Ash. It's okay. It's okay, Ash.
What? Do
It's
you not want to become
okay.
robots?
I'm hot. That's what I'm over here thinking about.
I think that window's open.
Really?
It is.
Yeah.
I think it's that you've been
You got that glisten
over
on your
there.
forehead.
Do me the favor of just.
Can you give me a little bit more? All right. No, there's a cross breeze.
I'm happy.
So y'all go with these eyes. Well, I know you go with the eyes.
Need a cyber brain.
In 10 years,
How about the Neuralink, Charles? You want a Neuralink?
What's a Neuralink?
A Neuralink would essentially be a implanted to your brain that'll allow you to link up with any electronics that
Oh.
are synced to it, or that allow you to sync to it, and you would be able to control those electronics with your mind instead of ever. That's what I was saying. That's what, like, a couple weeks ago I was talking about how eventually we're moving to a point in which we won't have actual physical phones and things like that. It'd just be like something like a contact lens or glasses, or like something like a Neuralink, in which everything just syncs to your mind, and you actually, or you could still have a physical phone. You just won't ever have a need for it to be touchscreen or anything like that, because you don't have to touch it. You just control everything with your mind.
I think like the remake of Total Recall had like the you had like microchips embedded inside your
Yeah.
phone.
And then Neuralinks will also help with people that have prosthetics. They can have the
Ash gonna have a flip.
prosthetics.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have like the equivalent of a flip phone and not understand what anybody's
Well,
doing.
like,
show me how to use the Neuralink, please?
oh no, it's like because of people like myself. As soon as you get the Neuralink and you get augmented reality, you're just gonna get spam pop-ups.
Good luck, y'all. That's all I got to say.
Inside the middle of driving is just like, hey, would you
No,
like
forget
your
all
penis
that,
to grow
man.
6
Like,
sizes instead? Like,
I was
what?
playing this game the other day, and it was like the virtual reality. You like Neuralinking your mind link into the game, and yeah, that I'm like, oh, that might be lit. It'd be like isekais in anime, essentially.
Augmented reality is really the future, not 3D.
I believe that's all I have for science, though.
Yeah.
I'm all about VR.
Why would you want VR and not AR? AR actually augments the world that's around you. VR just allows you to run away from what you're doing.
Can you explain that, please, and not just say it?
Augmented reality is basically everything that you see right now, except for with the overlay.
You ever played?
What?
You ever seen Pokemon Go?
Yeah,
And you played it with the little camera mode on?
I've never played it.
You seen people play it where they're looking through their camera on their phone and it's
Oh,
like,
so you can actually see what's around you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it's
But
like a
there's
pretend
also-
gym
Yep.
pop up.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, like I used that as
That's
picture
AR.
where I caught a Weedle,
Oh,
but the Weedle was sitting on the table at my job.
okay.
It's like, now imagine that except for everything. Like your billboards change and things of that nature.
That makes me uncomfortable.
I mean, having
Eventually, you
microchip
won't be
in
able to
your
tell the
brain
difference
probably-
between
What
reality.
if you get stuck in the AR world?
Yeah, like how many ads can they
that might
just
be cool.
filter it into your face? I'm not trying to do
Depending
all
upon whether or not you get the
Who the
free
fuck
world internet or the premium internet, it's gonna vary.
Mm-mm.
That's why Elon Musk is shooting them satellites up inside the sky to charge people for world internet. Yep, that's the thing.
That's something I want to invest in. World internet, nigga. They didn't capitalize off that shit. That's gonna make.
You ain't never gonna make it public.
That's fucking amazing.
I mean, hell, we pay as Americans. We pay for the infrastructure for internet as it was, except for cable. Cable was installed by commercial entities, but all the landlines and stuff have always been there. We just decided to finally use it for something now,
Mm.
and then they told us we had to pay for it. But whatever.
I mean, that's fair.
No, it isn't. We pay for the infrastructure.
Yeah, but I found it.
Niggas ain't find shit.
Capitalism, baby.
You weren't using it, so that means I can find
Finders keepers.
We are using it. It's literally in our homes already.
But you weren't using it this way.
Nigga.
it. Yeah.
All we
That'd
do-
be essentially
So
like
lit.
them making everything a Wi-Fi hotspot, like when they were trying to run Wi-Fi through electricity and whatnot.
Yeah.
So any electrical spot would be considered a Wi-Fi hotspot.
Yeah. I mean, you can
That'd
already
be
run
interesting.
you can already run the internet through the electrical ports inside of your house. It's
Mhm.
just not great.
Mm-hmm. It's not there yet. It's like what AOL was back in the day, dial-up. That sound.
Get out the phone. I need to use it. Get out the internet. I need to use it.
No, I need that. I need this.
Oh my goodness, AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah. What was y'all tag names? What was y'all usernames? Y'all remember it?
Nope, I was too young to care.
Potty mouth.
And then they had the AOL.
That sounds like some
Remember
shit.
that AOL? No.
I've always
I
been
had-
anti-establishment.
Oh, okay.
I've had AOL all the way up to, I think, late middle school when my father figured out the fact that we were paying for AOL and it costs more to pay for AOL than it did for high-speed internet.
Oh. I used the fuck out of that shit. Like after we got off the bus, I was talking to the homies.
I had AOL CDs, so I had hella internet, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to talk to anybody online. Like, I had the type of house where everybody could always be over. Like, you know, young niggas walk in now.
Oh yeah, I was never chatting like that.
My house has always been like that, so my niggas was just always in my house, so we weren't really online.
I don't know. After we got off the bus, and I get them fucking Insta whatever. Chats was cool for like 2 hours if you were lucky. And you had to do homework. Yeah.
Oh,
Good times.
Some good places.
We can talk.
Good
And
times.
we not at school and we not on the phone.
Exactly. Good
What?
times.
I mean, my best friend just lived down the walkway from me, so I mean, that's not that big a deal for
My
me.
best friend lived on the east side. That was my issue. Everybody lives on the east side.
How did you make friends on the east side when you were always on the west side?
They would go to the school I went to. So I went to Garrett Morgan. So that was like a science school. So everybody would come hub at that
Oh,
particular.
You're bad at picking.
It was a specialty.
Was I bad? No, I just chose the people I wanted to hang out with.
And they just happened not to live where you live.
Not really.
Well,
I was really isolated as a kid.
yeah, that's because a lot of places work like that. Like New York, you just kind of get to pick the school that you go to, and you can go to schools. You can go to a school in any borough.
Yeah. Like,
That's how Main City
I
Cleveland
had
works.
Yeah.
I had my school friends, but then as soon as I went home, I had my neighborhood friends, and those are the people that were always at my house that I hung out with.
no,
And
my
I didn't
neighborhood
even
friends
think
with my
about-
brother friends. I was such a weird kid.
I didn't even think about the people at school once I left school.
Mm.
Like, I don't know, but I've always been very like dualistic like that, where I'll cut off a part. Like, well, this is that, and this is this.
That's how I was until middle school.
Shaker's a cult.
Well, Shaker, yeah.
Because
So-
like I grew up and I was kicking it with all my friends on my street, and then when I went to school, I was with a whole bunch of white people. So I had friends at school, and then I had friends at home, which never crossed. And once I got to middle school, that's when my friends, we were old enough to actually do things. So we would leave our streets and go, you know, move around and meet up and, you know, be outside without people bothering us.
These street urchins.
And that's
Yeah.
when home friends and school friends became the same people.
Street urchins.
Yeah, niggas had a talent for like creating friends. I never had that talent.
Or like
So
all my
nobody
school
fucking with me,
friends
so I ain't fucking
lived
with
on the
nobody.
rich part of Shaker.
My neighborhood.
On the other side, across the tracks.
Always been able to have a select group of friends, but I'm also pretty good at picking my friends. That most of my friends have for the most part stuck around me, except for like a few. So, I guess I'm just dumb lucky, or because it's not like I'm the most charismatic person, and I definitely wasn't easy to get along with.
I don't know.
I'm done with science though.
Okay.
So, wonderful question for everybody. I was having a conversation with someone. Them and their situation will remain nameless because that ain't none of y'all business. But what I do want to talk about is, excuse me, let me get in here. Why do women pick men without like predetermining their leadership qualities and if their leadership style is going to work for them? And have y'all experienced that? A woman wanting you to be the like take the lead in a relationship, but the way and the things that you think are important are doing aren't the things that she wants you to be doing or think are important. And so she wants you to lead in a different way.
That's a interesting question because
Yes to the second part.
I mean, I always just kind of look at it like that's interesting, but I also don't like leading people around like dogs, so it's just like it's not really my thing.
Well, I don't think that's what women look at it like. I don't think Ash would say that she looks at a man like leading her around like a dog. Like, I don't think that any woman would put it like that.
I mean, that's my just curt way of putting it, but it's just kind of like I look at it as just like, well, You need to like lead the household. What do you mean by lead the household? You mean set household goals? Like, what do you want from me? Because it's like
Okay.
I have my goals.
All right.
You have your
I
goals.
need Ash to respond to
Why? They not finished though.
Oh no, I don't
He
know.
was just like, yeah.
You gotta
He's like,
respond
no.
to Charles. 'Cause,
Why I
Like,
This
gotta
nigga
respond?
Charles.
well, taking this to a whole new level. He's like, I'm not about to plan for you.
I mean, I have a general plan, and we can plan in our relationship, but you still need to have your individual goals. And I'm not going to set those bars for you because your happiness is your happiness. I'm also the dude who looks at a girl and says, like, yo, if you don't want to have kids, we don't have to have kids because it's more so your sacrifice than it's ever really going to be mine. Because it's one of those things where, like, the expectation inside of those types of situations are different for you than it are for me. It is for me. And also, you're the person who has to go through, like, the depressing and the destroying of your body and stuff like that. So, it's like, it's mostly your decision. It's not really mine. Like, that we're pregnant thing, I think that's bullshit. It's like, we're not pregnant. You're pregnant. And I'm also kind of here to, like, help you out. But I can't do this for you.
Do you want a sandwich?
So, what was the question again? The first part of the question.
I don't know.
Do you need food?
Like,
Do you
I'll-
need comfort?
This nigga said,
I will rub your back.
It's just like, but at this point, it's just like, I can't do this for you. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. I am the way I am.
You're right. But the question was,
I just need the beginning of the question again because I felt like I was there
And then,
and then I wasn't.
you ever dealt with a woman who wanted you to be like, or just had expectations of you, like, to be the lead in the relationship, but the things that you was doing weren't the things that she wanted you to be doing as the lead? Like, let's say you work, you come home, you make sure all the bills is paid, but you don't necessarily want to, like,
Yeah, all right, let me cut you off right there. Yeah, man, that bitch.
that bitch. The bitch.
Cause man, you brought up a whole thing. Yeah, man, I've been in a situation like I'm not gonna say situations. Been in a situation like that. Oh, it's just stupid. Like your goals. And it's not even about your goals. It's not like you. It's like the shit that you think is important is stupid. I don't know if I should be mad at you or should I be mad at myself.
or should I mean, because I don't think you really can attempt to, like, change that person at this point.
No, it's not even about changing them. It's just like
You need to reevaluate.
I go to work and I make money and I pay bills, right? You go to work, you make money, and you buy stupid shit.
What the fuck?
So I'm lost.
I'm going to sleep.
We both go to work. But I pay bills and you buy stupid shit. So I'm kind of confused. So yeah, I've been in that situation before.
paid the bills,
And the
you
shit
gotta
I
be
was
you.
doing didn't seem like it was smart. Cause apparently I was supposed to be out here, flexing, throwing money at bitches and shit like that. But no, if I did that, we ain't got no roof over our head, so I don't understand. I don't get it.
So she wanted you to be out flexing.
She wanted me to live.
Show.
She wanted me to live an Instagram life. I ain't got time for that.
What? That's what she said. I'm confused.
No, that's what I said.
She said. That's in your minds. What do y'all think? Like when a woman asks y'all to lead, what do you think that what do you think that entails? If no one told you,
Take
that's
care of my responsibilities as a man in the situation.
Okay.
So, like, let's
And-
say, and this is not generally speaking for everybody. For me,
Yeah.
it'd be like, okay, so if you're asking me to lead the situation, that means I'm taking care of things as in, I don't even know how to say it, in general. Like, I'm going out, I'm working. You work if you want. If it's a situation where it's more beneficial for you to work, I'd prefer for you to work.
Mm-hmm.
But in this situation, I'm taking care of it, so you don't really have to. And where else am I going with that? And just like generally being a protector and a provider. That's
Okay.
the simplest way to put it down. There we go.
Part of
Let
your
me
leadership.
erase all that other stuff. Protector and provider.
So that's part of your leadership skills. That's what
I
woman
see it
expects
as.
from you. All right. Go ahead, y'all. Keep going.
Because
I
like
where this is
outside of that,
going,
you're
you
like
know?
that's just what I see as a responsibility as man. Just protector
I'm
and provider.
big on setting goals.
Mhm.
Setting goals for the overall household, picking a place where we want to be, and making sure we're working together to get there. Budgeting, not doing stupid stuff, and just kind of making sure we're on track. In terms of working, for some reason I've never been able to see myself with a woman who just, I don't know. I don't know. I don't get the stay-at-home mom thing. Maybe because my mother never did it. But it's just like after some point, the stay-at-home mom thing is gonna be kind of, because eventually kids leave the nest and then you got kind of nothing. So it's like I can't really. We can work out like childcare and all that other shit. I know childcare is like wildly expensive, but if we're both working, we should probably be able to afford that. But it's just kind of like, set goals, adhere to scheduling, like, and kind of make sure the house is put together and maintained and stuff like that. Those are always the things that my father has done. Is like made sure the house was put together, made sure the cars were taken care of. Like my mother doesn't go to the car shop or anything like that. Myself or my father takes care of that stuff. So it means just generally that type of those type of things. But I don't need to be the lead on everything. That's also something I don't believe is a necessity. It's like dudes who say like, well, you need to take the lead on absolutely everything and you need to be in charge. And
Yeah, I
That's
don't
not
think that's,
realistic.
yeah,
Like-
I don't think that's a thing either.
That's a one. I believe that's an assumption that I know everything, which would be a statement of ignorance and stupidity. And it's like, secondly, if I'm the only person who adds value to this relationship, what the fuck are you here for?
Okay. Your turn.
I guess on the financial side, just to, like Marcus and Charles said, like be the mainstay and provider. Make sure like the house is good. Like I have goals for us, like where I see us. Like I'm not gonna set goals like Charles said, but I'm definitely gonna inquire about like, hey, what are your goals? And then I'm gonna check in with you to see if you're working on them. And like, how are those going? Because I think just as much as I'm supposed to like, I guess lead the household, I think it's my job to like make sure your emotional and mental and all of that is being led correctly and everything. Because if you just unhappy and shit, it's cool that the bills is paid and you don't go to the car shop, but you don't like me for real. So I gotta worry about how the fuck you feel and shit like that, and make sure that you feel secure and comfortable, and like, yeah, probably secure and comfort, and acknowledged. Probably the three things that women want to feel.
I do have a statement I want to put in here, right? I feel like I got to specify this, right? So, when I speak of, like, housewives, right? In my mind, a housewife, right? It's not like a throwback to, like, 50s, 60s. I'm in the house, a mother sweating, bomb, bomb, bomb. In my mind, what a housewife is literally what I have always seen through the adulthood of my life, watching any type of like TV shows, right? And what I mean by that is like they're literally taking care of the household. When I say take care of the household, it's not like you just stuck in the house all day. You're literally ripping and running. You're doing things. It's not like you're not active. It's not like you're just sitting on you. Because you sitting on your ass all day, you either gonna get up and get a job, you gonna go to school, you gonna do something. Because you're not about to sit up in the house and not do nothing. And I come home to bullshit.
Yeah, like where's the
Yeah,
growth
you
and
can't be a
development
housewife then. That's not being a housewife. That's being a lazy. Anyways, so like when it comes to me, when it's like literally you're up and about, you're moving, you have a schedule throughout your day. Like you have things you have to get up and do. It's just I'm providing you the financial backing for you to be able to do things throughout the day without you having to worry about, oh, where's this coming from? Oh, I need to do this for the house. Oh, where am I getting this from? Oh, where am I getting that from? But at the same time, you want to work, you can work too. I don't give a fuck. It's your life running how you want to.
Okay.
But that's like specificated because like I know some people look at it and say, well, you just in the house, are you doing this? No, you doing things.
I think we should hear from the woman.
Oh, I was
All right.
literally just gonna ask a
Yeah.
question: where does relationship stuff end and where does leading begin? Because, like for you, Tony, I felt like that kind of melded together a bit.
No, because I guess I think of it as in every aspect I should be the lead. Like,
Mm.
like if I'm not worried about how you doing it, then if I'm only leading like paying bills and any old body could do that, then it's not really anything about me that makes it special or unique.
Right.
Mm. I don't know. Maybe it's more so. Maybe I have a clear delineation there when there really isn't. But I feel like taking care of the person is more so the relationship, and leading is more so just making sure shit is together.
But in taking care of the person, I'm gonna have to go to the woman and make sure that I'm considering her feelings because I'm gonna process shit logically. Most men do. She gonna hear what I say and take 3 words out of this paragraph that I gave her, and those are gonna be what's important to her. I can say we should go to the gym, and she heard, you think I'm fat? How did we get here?
There wasn't even an I in that sentence.
It's because
You or fat.
Yeah.
None of those words were in the sentence.
But because she feels a way about the suggestion of going to the gym and like what made you think about saying to go to the gym and shit like that, you gotta like know how to navigate that and be the lead in that. So yeah, that's what I think. So I think it's all encompassing. So you're right. I think that it melds in this every aspect.
Oh, mm.
Yeah, Ash, it's
We
time.
waiting on you. You got look
Why?
everybody.
I'm not even here. Sound like
you
I'm
are.
not here.
No, you here. Stop soaking up this info.
I just wanted to hear what y'all
Nah,
had to say.
no.
You're just
whatever.
trying to
The
get
way-
cheat codes.
Yeah,
No, I'm not
that's
trying to
what
get
that was.
It's like
So-
having a female wingman. Is
What
like
I wanted to hear was what y'all thought in this particular.
You got
what
a little
leader
excited
was.
when everybody started giving their feelings and whatnot. He's like,
So what
ooh,
do you think?
who's next?
What do y'all thought what a leader was?
Yeah, so what do you think?
Going back to the original question with this female.
No. What do you think?
What do I think a leader is? First of all, I gotta trust you. I have to see like you can yield results. I'm not following nobody. No one can lead me anywhere unless I know like you're an effective leader.
Yeah, you're not following. You over to following them words.
We'll get to that in a moment. But I'm not. I'm looking at results. And like I said, I've been there where you follow words because you're going off your feelings. So I have compassion for the woman that's in this situation because I understand I've been there. But to me, a leader understands like where his strengths is and where his weaknesses is. And if he has a weakness, he can tell me. And then maybe there's some weaknesses I can play off of because of my strengths. And then there's something that maybe we can delegate outside the household. To me, that's what like a true king and a true leader is. He's humble enough to know where his weaknesses is, but strong enough and confident enough to know that I'm not gonna lead my family nowhere where they don't want to be. I'm taking in everybody's consideration. Is his word law? It can be in sometimes because I'm not gonna challenge you on every fucking thing. That's stupid. Maybe you have some information that I don't fucking know. And a lot of things like that y'all worry about, I'm not really 100% concerned with because y'all really good at like solving problems and handling tasks. All right, if you keep me on task, I will follow you if I trust you. So for me to have a leader in my household, I gotta trust you 100%. And to me, those good things are cool. Like, are you?
Look so confused?
Are you
No, I'm not really confused. I'm honestly, well, partly is like I'm looking at that video that's been on loop for like a hot second. It's just like,
You keep looking
and
at
part
the
of
meat
that is
again.
just like me just thinking, processing what she's saying as she's saying it.
Okay. I need somebody that's confident enough to say, I can lead my family in direction. If we have goals, I can lead them towards those goals and look at everybody that had an input to say, all right, here's how we're going to achieve those goals. And if you have any questions, ask. And then humble enough to say, this is where I'm not strong at. I need help somewhere along the way. And he'll look for me for like either guidance. Not saying that I'm just his mom and like, you should do this, you should do that. I'm not going to be naggy. I'm really going to trust your decision wherever we got to move towards. And that role, and a lot of people don't value that role of being a quote unquote, like, I'm going to say, so you got a leader, then you got to be a follower. So that's loose though. I'm not saying that nobody's a slave or they're incompetent. But the fact that you surrender to the leader is immensely powerful. So you should never delegate like the woman that your role is somehow weak. It gives him power. Without you, where would the leader be? You know? Well, what would he be leading? Himself? Like,
I mean, you're not a leader unless you got somebody behind you.
exactly. So like that's an immense power that
You're just
you
a
have
person.
to trust yourself. And like no woman should have like if a man does something you don't think it's beneficial to you or if it's like a flaw in it that you shouldn't speak up and say what's on your mind. But also take fact like being a follower and letting a nigga lead you is incredibly powerful. It's incredible. Not only do you trust him with your life, you trust yourself enough to know yourself and what you can and will not take. And you've set those boundaries for yourself. So I'm assuming if you with a man, you trust him that he saw your boundaries and he saw all those things. Y'all just decided like this is gonna work. He was like, all right.
I ain't gonna
I
lie.
don't have anything to say anymore.
Look,
At
having
certain points.
that trust is a crazy ass situation. Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
it almost gives you like a sense of power, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Like when you know someone trusts you, or you just know that like they're willing to follow what you're doing, and they have confidence in what you're doing. It's a sense of power.
Yeah, like
It's a sense
everything.
hell, it's a sense of confidence.
I hate saying that corny shit, but when Uncle Banjo say like great power comes great responsibility, I know that shit is mad corny. And believe me, I understand the job of men is a burden, but think about the immense amount of benefits.
It also does, like you said, give a sense of responsibility.
Yeah, and then you have all this power. Like I get it, it's a burden. I don't want no one to have burdens, but everybody got burdens. Like having a kid is a burden, but because it's such a burden, it's so fulfilling at the end of the day. Having your own business is an incredible burden. Like you are responsible for how you survive, but at the end of the day, you have the freedom for how you survive. So that's not to negate like anything that men do that it's a burden. And I get it, like why you want to question like why I gotta do all that shit, which is cool, but at the same time, I wish men wouldn't look at it as such a burden that's like so negative, like, oh, why I gotta do that shit? Like, I'm trying to put you on your throne and you complaining about it. But anyway, that's how I think an effective leader would be. Confident enough to know that I'm taking my family somewhere and I can accomplish these goals with the help of everybody, but also humble enough to know like I can listen to everybody and I understand where I'm not as strong at. So that's an effective leader to me.
Okay.
Why are you humming, Charles?
He said the word trust, and I go to Young Metro. Don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you.
What?
If you're
Full on trust you, I'm gonna shoot you. Beautiful morning.
Charles went to a whole ass song.
You over here humming and shit. I'm like, damn.
Beautiful morning.
So what do you think about that, Charles?
Okay. Well, that was part of it. And what's the answer to the question?
I was gonna get. So you
Okay.
talking about his question?
Oh, yeah, the original question.
I was gonna get to that.
Okay.
So with all that being said, no one's taught what a leader is, and no one's taught what like an effective follower is. No one's taught what like being a man is, and no one's taught what like being a woman is. We are out here on our own, just flying around. No matter if you had like, damn, I don't want to say that. Even if you had a dad alone, I would see like a lot of people like they dads just checked out. Their dads was there, but they was not there. They weren't really effective. And where I got that from, I'm not saying that that's your situation,
Oh,
but what I'm seeing is, and what I read in this book called Radical Honesty is like, what people used to do as a society would say, when a woman got her period, she became a woman. And when a boy became a man, they would have to take the boy out the village or whatever and take him into the fucking wilderness and whoop his ass and do all this shit. So in his mind,
Spartans.
psychologically, like, he had this trauma to say, like, he could look at his hand and be like, I got 15 lashes, and that's the moment where I started my journey to manhood. And for women, like, they would take you somewhere in the hut while you bled, whatever, and this is where your journey starts from womanhood. We don't have that no more. There's no one out here effectively teaching us how to become a man or woman. So that means, like, you don't even have a basis of what a good relationship look like. No one knows. We just winging it. And going back to that book I read, with Radical Honesty, he said the biggest fucking problem we have is lying. That's the major source that we have, and we learned it in adolescence. So because we taught, like, we started lying to protect ourselves from, like, a bad situation. You take the cookie out the cookie jar?
No.
Nah. What you talking about?
What cookie?
Yeah, fucking not me. Because of all this moralism, if you do bad, obviously you're going to have a bad consequence. You're going to suffer a consequence. What we didn't learn is how to tell the truth, which in turn kept us in, like, this extended adolescence, which is why I say all the time, like, my 20s, nigga, I was still a girl at 25, for real. Like, I didn't understand that I needed to, like, there's this moment where, like, you need to grow up, and that happens with both men and women. So in response to her situation, she's just flying off of her instincts, and her, not even her instincts, she's flying off of her ego. She's flying off of something that she thinks that she wants. Like, I bet you 1,000,000%, like you said, that nigga was laying down pipe immaculately to the point where she was like, well, I guess condoms really don't matter, or whatever her situation is. And you just get, as women, we get caught up in what you feel. And unfortunately, men know that. Men know how to get, if they do something right, they can get you to feel a certain way to get what they want out of you.
If I could hook you in your feels, I got you.
Yeah, like, if I fuck you right, you definitely about to be cooking me meals or whatever it is that y'all trying to get out. And I think that
Milkshakes.
Yeah. At 22, like, he's just still a kid, and no one wants to acknowledge that, like, we still are children somehow, until, like, that's that spark to say, I need to grow up. What was working for me before is not working. And then from a woman's perspective, I get it. Like, he made you feel a certain way, and y'all did whatever, but at a certain point, like, you start to see, like, it's a lot of lip service going on and not a lot of action. And I don't know if that's a particular woman problem, which is why
I'm like, what she ain't noticed is a lot of lip service comes from young niggas.
yeah, like,
Young
niggas know
man.
that shit.
Ooh.
But at the same time, young niggas, like, I'm not gonna say young niggas, maybe I should say that, but they know how to manipulate a woman, which is immature in of itself. Why, at that point, like, as someone who matured, he would know, like, this is what I want, and I'm not gonna settle for anything less. Neither parties don't know what they want at this point in time, which is why I think it's not a man or woman problem. I think it's a man and woman problem, because he had to agree to it. He ain't say, like, nah, this ain't really it. You just not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna strap up, like, nothing. He ain't say none of that.
I'm gonna get in there.
Yeah, he ain't say none of that. So I think he just
Y'all
as equally
strayed away from
responsible.
my question. Wait, this real personal.
No, did I answer your question though? Do I feel like I don't feel like
Question
it's a
was
man?
general.
I don't feel like it's a woman problem. I feel like it's a man and woman problem because somebody got to agree to it.
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
Because she couldn't be in a relationship, she couldn't have a baby unless this nigga was like,
but again,
Maybe you're right.
all I was saying is, why do women not take into consideration men's leadership qualities before
saying.
they?
I feel like I answered that.
I was
We
about to say,
don't know what
I
it
feel like
looks
she answered that.
We don't know what that looks like. We've not taught that
Yeah,
shit.
but all the other, you got real personal. We were supposed to keep it away from the.
No, I've tried to, like, line it up to my line of thinking.
No,
I'm
no.
not good at, like,
Oh, more so, like, we were not looking at the story in particular and trying to avoid actually
Talking
saying the
about her.
particulars
Oh.
of the story.
Yeah.
My bad.
It's just like,
Like age, it just.
Yeah.
it was like,
no,
hubba
we're not supposed to talk about any of that.
Y'all got it.
Hubba.
What y'all gonna do?
Well, you only got like bits and pieces.
Okay.
So as long as we don't like mess around with anything else.
Yeah, so just don't continue to expose other people's stories. That's
But
all I was saying.
why don't women? Well, I mean, I don't think really a lot of us have seen a lot like leadership done correctly because there aren't that many good leaders inside of most situations. Like,
Right.
honestly,
So what does she have to go off of? She don't got nothing to go off of. Women in general, what do it look like? Tell me what does it look like? At that point, you don't know what it looks like. So she just going off of not even, I can't say like instinct. She just going off her traumas basically. She knew what she was getting into when she dated this dude. Every woman knows what they're getting into when they date a man, whether they're conscious of it or not. There's nothing in her psyche that was like, I'm conscious of the decision I'm making. Like, this ain't gonna really work. Or it maybe
The way the
having a
person
baby.
makes you feel makes you ignore your flags.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she like now. Maybe this will open her eyes. Like, I don't deserve this type of man. If she thinks, because whether he was 22 or 52,
stop.
Yeah, stop. referencing
Stop.
herself.
did I do something wrong?
Yeah, so,
I apologize.
Age again.
yeah,
I didn't say a name, so I thought I was okay.
yeah,
We don't know that
reference
name.
Her situation.
Oops,
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
you can cut that out.
No, it's too much. Yes.
We'd have to redo this
Yeah,
whole
that's all I'm
segment.
saying. Just keep it general to just women.
Oh, so women in general.
Yeah, because you were doing that. We were talking about growing up and not having a leader and not knowing how to look at it. Then like you switched it with hyper focus. And I was like, oh, this took a turn. And it was just like,
Okay, I see what you're saying.
He tried to refocus it. It's just like, I was more so
Women in
speaking about the
general.
general. It's just
If
like,
you at a certain point in your life, there has to be a moment where you say, like, as a woman, and believe me, I know, has to be a point where you say, I'm done with that. At whatever stage a woman is in her growth, they don't have those epiphanies. But then again, I'm not absolving men from that shit either, because they agree to it. You can't have a relationship without, or have a baby without a nigga there. So I don't think that's a woman thing.
I mean, I think it's the only reason I think that it's a woman thing is I don't think that it's a woman thing to pick someone that you're not necessarily considering.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that men pick women that they don't necessarily look at their qualifications to be the type of nurturing person that they want
Mm-hmm.
or that they need in life, in the same way that women don't look at the type of leadership qualities. So I think that men and women don't look at something. I just think it's just something different that we don't look at. Because I don't really look at women to like really lead me anywhere, but I definitely look at women to be like right there with me, like on this journey.
My support, my backbone.
I just need
Yeah, and
somebody
I-
to ground me out.
Whatever, like, I don't know if, like I said, women just, if you at that certain amount, I don't even know if at this point, if it's about like, what does leadership look like from a man? Like, you just have to say, like, you not accepting anything less than what that is. But you got to be clear about what you want. That's what I said. Neither parties are clear about, I mean,
That's true.
fuck. People ain't clear about what they want. Is directionless a lot of the
I feel
time.
like it's more or less like you said, they don't know what they want.
Yeah.
So people dip and dive into situations, and sometimes you get caught up in a situation, and you just got to
going
deal
off
with it.
Raw, like,
Yeah.
a lot of
but,
times you going
like-
off your traumas, because
Mhm.
I mean, let's just face it, like,
I mean, I
A
got
lot of-
I got like what 10 years of trauma. I can literally
that
look
just
at a female.
led you.
No. I literally look at a female right now and be like, nope, nope.
And the crazy thing is, a lot of people blame that on like, my heart told me to do that. No, sweetheart, your goofy ass traumas, what you truly believe about yourself, which a lot of times ain't like the greatest thing. What you truly believe about yourself: I'm poor, no one loves me, I'm never gonna be loved. Fuck all that other confidence bullshit. That's a filter. That fucking core shit that keeps you held back, which is actually really running the show, is what led you to be with something that you really didn't
Want.
you really didn't want, and you didn't know that you didn't want it, and that's why you in so much turmoil with the nigga that you is now. Men too. Like, it is not, to me, it is not a fucking woman thing. It is a both party thing.
I'm
And
gonna
don't nobody really have like a clear direction of where they want to go.
I'm gonna be real about this. I feel like a lot of people when they start looking at the person that they want to be with, they don't go through the process like correctly, because a
Yeah.
lot of people, they just don't date. Like, in terms of like, you guys don't actually go through that initial filtering process of
Yeah.
spending time with one another and figuring out, yo, is this actually somebody I want to like spend the thing that I have that I know is a limited resource, which is time. Time is always going to be limited. You only ever have so much of it. And do I want to like go into this relationship and figure this out?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you're still discovering a ton of shit like
Right.
halfway through the relationship, and you guys never really sit down and have a real conversation about it. Or, like you said before, you lie in that conversation because you feel like the person is not going to like the answer that you give them.
Yeah, you're not gonna ask for what you want because your self-worth is down fucking here. And then as you get, or not even say you get older, as you progress through life, your self-worth should be fucking rising. It shouldn't be stunted at a certain, and that's why I was going about the Arrested Development, like in the space that we in a lot of times. There's nothing to tell us this is where you go into womanhood, and this is, there's nothing from manhood to womanhood. This is how you get there. There's no plans, nothing. And a lot of times you trip up going into a relationship. You're not having those conversations like, where do you see your life going? You ain't got to be harsh with it or anything like that. Like, where do you see your life going? Am I the partner for you, or are you a partner for me? No one has those conversations either at any whatever given space in their life.
No, people are not gonna have those conversations nowadays.
It's scary
because those type of conversations bring up the things people don't want to talk about.
Yeah, it rocks the boat. Believe me, I
Yeah.
get it why people don't want to
That's
talk
why
about
that
it.
doesn't happen.
But those are also the things that will lead to making a better decision in the long run.
No.
I mean, overall, yeah.
And no one's taught these things. Like, I was never taught these things. Believe me, I've been kicked through the ringer because I was never taught these things. But somewhere in me was like, I can't keep going on like this. What do I have to do to change?
I mean, I guess there's the age-old adage that you look for someone who is like your parent. And the weird thing is, I've actually avoided dating women that are like my mother, like the plague.
I think the trick is to have
Like, some people in this room have met my mother, so I mean, you can understand why. But
you want paternal instincts. I don't want you thinking like, don't touch that. That's not okay. No, like, that's never going to be conducive. You can't go here because I told you so or whatever. That's never conducive to anybody in any situation. You should do what I say or else. That's basically what like a parent would be. A parental figure is kind of, I don't say it's hard, but he would have more like father-ish qualities, I guess. Does that make sense?
you're more so looking for the paternal. All my paternal
You're
figures in
looking
my life
for-
have been good at giving advice and explaining to me why that this is not a good idea and why you shouldn't do it. And then I can still go out and quest to do this
Yeah,
stupid
he's
thing.
not holding me back. Like, it's really up to you to do this. You're not like chastising me. You're not making me feel bad, even indirectly or directly. Not making me feel bad for the decisions that I would ultimately make. And then if I if I bump my head or something, you there to be like, see what I tell you. Now come over here so I can make your head feel better. That's what I would want.
I see what you mean in that sense, because like you said, when people say you look at somebody that's like your parents
Yeah.
or like your respective parent,
Yeah.
it's not like you're looking for someone that's exactly like them.
No.
You're
I don't
looking
want
for the traits and the things, certain like
that. I want the
like you
general
said,
energy
parental,
of what a father
yeah.
could be and would be in that situation.
Because one,
'Cause it's
you're
never
looking
gonna
for,
leave you.
oh, you're a nurturing figure. Two, it means you're good. It means you'll be a good mother too.
Yeah, like if
You
somebody looked
look
at
for
me
things
and
in
then
a
like
sense.
seeing that I was a shitty mother to my child, like they're not gonna depend on me to take care of them. It's kind of it's a really thin line between being my mother and having like these maternal instincts that like keep me in check. And same thing for like a guy, like he has paternal instincts that'll keep me generally in check, so to speak.
But that's the ultimate thing of, and that kind of leads to what Tony said before, because it leads to a situation where you can't overread into what I am saying and just trust that what I am saying is what I mean. Do not
Right.
take we should go to the gym because I want to spend time with you and blah blah and do like more stuff with you, and I enjoy going to the gym, so I want you to be a part of that, as you're fat and you need to work out.
But if I trust you, I'm going to be like, I'm not going to be reactionary, and I understand like your reaction is to think there's something wrong.
I was about to say like it.
But
well,
at that point, like if Tony told me let's go to the gym, because I know Tony well enough to just be like, I just generally want us to be better. There's nothing quote unquote wrong, but we can always move forward because that's just who he is. He's always striving to move forward. So that's the type of man you got to deal with. Like, do I understand what he's saying? Like, if this nigga's smacking your ass every night, clearly he like it. But can we go somewhere better? Do you want to go somewhere better? Don't be reactionary if that's the case. But if you, like I said, if you still a child and you're just like, you're hurting me, like,
There's definitely always better.
yeah, like working out ain't gonna hurt you. Think about it. Like, no one's.
And then like that whole, even in that sense, like talking on that point, it's like if it's reactionary like that, that leads to a whole nother situation.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's if you trust me, and you know what I'm about. Well, there's no reason for you to be reactionary
It's all
like that.
about for a female. It's
Hell,
all
there's
about-
there's not even a reason for you to overread into the situation.
Yeah,
because
you
you
would
know what I'm.
that this
You
man not trying to hurt
understand.
me. When has he ever showed me that he's? I get it. You're gonna be hurt. That's just gonna come with the territory. But when has this man ever really showed you like, I don't fuck with you for real? Like, fuck your
Yeah,
face.
I started
Like,
using like things like that to be like, oh, you don't trust me for real.
Yeah.
Bet. Now I know.
But
I
that
guess-
even starts with like trusting yourself to know that I wouldn't pick a man to fuck me over like that. That really starts is with you. Because if I trust myself to know like, oh, you know, this guy's over here and he's doing majority of what he's supposed to be doing and all that shit. That really started with the trusting yourself, whether you're a man or a woman, to trust yourself that I pick good partners because I know what I need to be fulfilled. And nothing that I don't put on this weirdo template ain't gonna come to me unless I allow it to.
Yeah, it's like weird. Like I dated this one girl in college who said she didn't really like black guys and she was just also like African American. When I look at stuff like that, it's just like I don't know what inside of your prior
I could answer that.
history has
What do you
like
think that shit is? They be
caused
like,
that.
I just don't fuck with niggas.
I can answer that.
Yeah.
You
Her
not
father was
remember- do
present.
You not remember me in high
Oh yeah.
school?
So you told me about how that one sprays me how
When I was
Oh.
in high school, I didn't want to talk to black girls at all.
Really?
Yeah.
I never got that vibe. I mean,
I
it's
was
not
a
like
white
you were-
girl all through high school that you know me.
So, see, maybe I'm just this weird dude. It's just like, who do you date? Who I want to date.
No, well, I never actually talked to you about things like that either, so it makes sense that you would not know. Star would have known, you wouldn't have known. But basically, it depends on the trauma or the situation at hand. For me, it was like most black women that I knew were really aggressive. They were really loud. They were really everything I don't want to deal with on a constant.
Spicy chicken.
remember you telling me that.
Yeah, spicy chicken.
Spicy
I did. Oh yeah, that was it. See, that's why it's useful to have people around when I'm just talking out the side of my neck, because I would never remember that if someone wasn't there to hear the fucking spicy
I
chicken
remember when
story.
you told me that. Like, I remember he was
It's
calling
like,
this
I
nigga
don't
spicy
like
chicken.
playing chicken patties. I like playing chicken patties.
And but at the same time,
I
but
hate the spicy chicken at and it was talking about the shaker lunches. The
yeah,
spicy chicken
because they
versus
snuck me a
regular
spicy chicken sandwich patty one time when I asked for a regular patty. Bitches. Anyway.
chicken. It's like, I'm not gonna
I'm
touch
not-
spicy chicken.
I don't know. It's just like,
Shit was the funniest shit to me.
But yeah, I used spicy chicken as a reference to pull it all together.
yeah.
But basically, what it was is like a black women back then, like most of the black women I knew back then were really aggressive. They were really down-putting. They were really pretty much the opposite of what I would have wanted in a woman. There's not one I could have came across that was like, oh, exactly what like someone I was looking for. So I was just with Chantel, and I would not talk to black women. I did not talk to them until after high school.
Man.
And I can see, and I also can understand from the other point of view, because I've talked to black women who have been in a situation where they only talk to white dudes because they've been done dirty so bad by black dudes, and they kept trusting them. I mean, not saying not on their fault, but the trauma of them going through the same situation or dealing with different dudes and constantly, no matter which dude they jumping around in different groups, trying different type of dudes, and each one always turned out the same. They just jump out of the race altogether. Or they'll be looking for a white man because statistically he's more financially stable than most black men, which counts into the whole race thing and black people being put down and all that whatnot. But I'm not going to get into all that.
Oh, my favorite.
But those are most of the reasons why people hop race in general. I don't do it now, but back then that was my reasoning for doing so.
Oh no, I date who I want. If I like you, I will.
I mean, I
pass
do
you
now
on to date.
too. So
But it's just like I've never processed things. So for a woman to say that to me, I was sitting there like, and you're black, is just like, the fuck is wrong with you? Is like, and then I found out some other things where there was a whole cluster of stuff that I was not aware of, and apparently I was perusing through a minefield that I was very lucky.
Yeah,
to
it's
not
usually a
go
whole
into.
clusterfuck back there, like I said.
It's just like there was an extreme cluster. It is like because whenever she would describe things, it was a very particular way, and it was framed, and it wasn't really a lie, but certain things were definitely be omitted inside a conversation,
I bet.
and it's just like, eh. And that's also something I learned, that I don't want to deal with stuff like that. If you cannot be very straight and succinct with me, it's just like, well, I need you to like read, and like I can read subtext to a certain degree, but at some point I'm going to look at you and say what you actually want to say, and trust me, not to wig out on you. Because
Charles gonna flip out.
I don't flip out.
Start kicking tables,
Throwing
I also
shit,
stomping
don't.
his feet.
fucking breaking glass.
It's like, see, the funny thing is, you guys joke. See, the funny thing is, not telling me will get me more towards that than just telling me. It's just like, you're frustrating me.
I
When
mean,
I'm
yeah,
frustrated,
I think that applies to most people.
it's just like,
They ask you a question, you can be difficult about it. You know what?
it's just like,
I'm just
I'm
not.
scared you'll leave me. You know what? As of this point, I'm more likely to leave you because you are being real difficult with me. And if we can't be honest with one another, then I'm more so going to
know what?
skate because we can't be honest.
I wish that. No, this is really toxic.
You know what? You need to add that asterisk to it.
Disclaimer.
I wish sometimes, like, you know, that frustration point that women get you to, where you're just like, ooh.
Ooh.
I wish I could just pour water on their ass. Just like dump a whole bottle out.
We outline that
See,
face like,
that was not as top. That was not as top. Quintessentially, at that point, you're treating them like they're a cat or something.
Because, like, really,
I thought you were
spray
about
bottle.
to go
Like,
all the way off the
Yo,
deep
my brother
end.
did that shit to me one time. He just
I've done that shit
threw
to people
water on
before.
me. I was like 13, and I forgot. Me and my younger brother was arguing about something. He just threw water on me.
Like, stop it.
Nah. I had a spray bottle. There were cats in the house. I'm gonna spritz
threw
you.
water on me.
I sprayed you a couple times.
But
Why you
no.
being
I
difficult?
just want to just dump a cup of water right over her head. Just cut it out.
Why'd you do that?
Like,
See, now you're thinking about that as opposed to being all inside your head about telling me
she
what
keep
the heck you need to
talking
tell me.
and I'm mad, and I could express it no other way but physically. And this is the only acceptable physical way to me express my anger towards you.
Because I thought you were about to go straight to the opposite extreme.
Nah, because I
It's
can't
like,
hit her.
Yeah, I thought that shit was gonna be way worse.
it's just like, I could just Sparta kick her in a hole. It's
guys.
just like, what?
And you know, I found out I can't even shake bitches no more. I give them fucking shaking baby syndrome. I ain't got time to be snapping your neck and shit because I'm shaking you too hard.
That's
No,
got that.
crazy. But that's what I'm saying. Like, see, what part of y'all didn't really hone in on what like y'all really wanted to choose somebody that would get you to that point? I'm not saying that even if you chose your most perfect woman that she wouldn't get you to that point, but there's a certain level of maturity to make sure like I know like I need to walk away because I'm really upset.
What I found
I
out
always
Nah,
walk away.
fuck that, I'd be in there. I'd be in
is
there.
that nah.
We're here now.
We be in the
Nah,
argument
That's
for what
dumb.
we in,
It's
but
dumb. I
like
get that.
I can't. Mm-mm.
I take one deep breath and I look for
I
it and
tell
I
you to
start
stop.
doing
I'm
something
telling
else.
you. I usually warn people like you need to chill out before everything goes bad. Like no, I usually tell people like there's a boundary that you about to cross and you crossing it before I get to that point. That's how I know. If I gotta warn you before shit gets to the point, and if you don't let me walk away, okay. But that's a level of knowing yourself to let you know, like I'm getting past anger now. Like this is terrible.
When you go past angry, you start to like even out, and it's just like,
You
man,
start getting calm, like, hey, listen, you need to stop. Because you in that void space between this is where we're having an argument to rage. You don't want to be in the void space. Yeah, like you don't want to be in that space, like, cause I know as a woman I can't hit you for real.
Yo,
If I do, we gonna be fighting. I actually don't want to be hit, cause I'm gonna hit you back. But now I'm gonna be verbally abusive because before we get to the physically abusive part,
oh,
like, dog, you need to chill.
I'm gonna pop you in your forehead.
Oh, we need to chill. See, I warn you, and you hit me in the forehead. We fighting. There's no.
We
way
could be
to-
fighting, but like that's about as physical I can get with you without actually hurting you. So I'm gonna flick you in your forehead.
I hate being hit in
It
my
might
face.
hurt you because most of the time I talk to women that's smaller than me.
Why is there
So then
that?
I'm like, and they get mad because like
No.
you gonna flip me in my forehead like I said. Hey, yeah, because you being
I
difficult.
can't even be brought to that fucking point anymore. I'm just refusing to go there.
Or it was an echo. Maybe Marcus was too close to the thing. I don't see it. Oh. Or maybe I'm hallucinating due to short sleep. It's very possible.
Charge might need some sleep, bro.
But yeah. No, it's like, no, I'm definitely hearing an echo. I don't know.
All right.
I think he's talking about out loud.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do y'all hear that?
I mean, I've heard the echo when we got loud coming through the headphones. That's just me hearing through your headphones though, because I'm close enough to
Okay.
hear.
I didn't realize that was actually
Those
a
headphones are
possibility.
really loud,
Huh.
so you can hear us out of the headphones. So you're probably hearing us talking out of the headphones.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Okay.
a few times I got really loud, I hear my voice come through and it like doubled back and it sounded weird.
No, you ain't getting no more tequila. Fuck that. No, I'm just joking.
No, booze won't do that to me. Booze just actually mellows me out.
Okay.
But it's like,
Man, if y'all done,
Liquor takes away
pause
my
this.
filter.
Yeah, we can take a pause before we go to the mental health. We'll be right back.
And none of them got answers. But we are back. We are back. We are back, and we are ready for the psychedelic mindfuck that is Ash.
Oh my God, it's a Karen.
It's a Karen.
No, nothing.
You call Ash Karen.
No, no. I was looking at something on my phone.
I still love you very much.
Why would I call you a Karen? Ash?
that's not a derogatory word, everyone.
Don't you hate that? I feel like bad for white people. Like Karen.
Y'all out here looking for oppression.
Yeah, it's like
Y'all want to be oppressed? We can help y'all out with that.
She's a Karen because she was on her phone recording people in the store talking about this is illegal.
They're not Karens.
Even though they're for small businesses being able to refuse people for things like being gay and stuff, but you can't say no because you're not wearing a mask.
They gotta stop. They gotta stop that. That's so bad. That's bad.
That's some weak ass shit. Let's just call it what it is.
I hope we stop calling people Karens. That's not fair to them.
Why?
I feel like that is derogatory towards like white females. They don't want to be labeled like that because it's not a positive connotation. Like, you know, what
All
you
right,
call
so
it.
you ain't never looked at somebody named Susan and be like, man, or looked at somebody and be like, man, she look like a Susan.
Believe me, but I'm pretty sure somebody looked at me and be like when I go to the little Chinese shop on Payne, they look at me like I'm about to steal. Like,
I mean, yeah, I'm not saying it don't happen.
Like, there's some
I'm
things
just
that I
saying.
can and cannot control, and I get it. Like, some people have given. Let me not say that. What's been presented to us, unfortunately, gets labeled to a whole bunch of group of people, whether it's white or black. We can't escape that, but it's also not okay. Like either way it go. So I just, I'm at that space where I'm like, neither side is right, and how are you gonna end something like, stereotypes if you keep continuing doing it? Like fighting fire with fire is clearly not working, and we haven't caught on to that. So that's what I'll say about that.
What am I? Let me actually figure out a way to articulate this thought. It's one of those. I don't know. When I look at the entire equality thing, it's very likely the last person sitting at the table is not going to get fed. I don't know why I think like that, but it's like, and also as a black people, we tend to be like the last people sitting at the table. It's like, it's real weird that way, because I have a strong feeling that once a lot of these other people these oppressed people once they get removed from their oppression, they're going to not be as about it as they are as long as it's being put on them. So it's like, you know what? If you feel a little bit oppressed, maybe you understand a microcosm of how it feels to exist as a black person and not be able to walk down the street and get stopped. Like, Hell, in high school, we just used to get stopped for walking down the street, and then it's like also dealing with asinine forms of logic. Like, you know what? It's just like we don't want the. It's like that was still the stupidest thing I've ever heard a cop say. It's just like, so you're fine with people walking down the streets with guns? Yes, but we're not allowed to walk around down the streets with sticks. No. Why? Because we don't want the types of people who would carry that type of stuff carrying sticks, but you want the type of people carrying guns who carry guns around. Your logic doesn't track here, dude. But maybe I'm just too much of a cynic though. It's like, but the last person at the table is typically fighting for themselves, and we are one of the groups who kind of started the fight. And I also didn't see inside the civil rights movement a lot of those women suffrage people out here riding for the cause. So.
I ride for the cause. I ride for my niggas.
Sell my soul, I'll take it back.
I feel like there's a Tupac song I could quote there.
Strictly for my niggas. I ride for my niggas. But alright, Ash, you ready?
My turn. I
Dun,
don't know
dun,
how to
dun.
pose this question.
Okay, post a statement then.
Is your brain healthy?
Black people, make your brain healthy. I guess like I should have wrote this out.
I'm alright with words. Take it.
Okay, how do y'all feel about like? I don't know. You can say black people if you want to, or white people. I don't give a fuck. You can say like, how did y'all deal with like y'all mental health issues growing up, and how do you think we deal with them now? And why do you think it's like such a stigma to look for help when you need like to talk to a counselor or a psychologist? Have you ever talked to a psychologist or a counselor?
I had one in high school.
Go ahead, guys.
I had one in the
Out.
4th grade.
That's right. Cry it out with me.
I had one in the 4th grade,
Mm-hmm.
and I had one in high school. I don't think I had one in between. I might have had one in. I had one in the 4th grade because they made me do counseling after my father died.
Okay.
So
Made me do that shit.
yeah, they did.
Come
They
on,
did.
nigga.
Yeah, they did.
That's sick. I'm sorry. I'm feeling.
Well, it was after my father died, but my grandfather died the year before that.
Oh,
So my grandfather died, and then my father died, and it's all right. You taking counseling? And I'm like, all right, whatever. So that was that. I took that for like I think that year. I don't really remember 4th grade like that too well. And then in high school, once again, I was made to take this because I was in the program, and a lot of people in the program had anger issues. Marcus ain't had anger issues, but Marcus was in the program, so Marcus had to go get counseling for anger issues. So yeah,
There's like, no, you too.
yeah.
You
And then I
too.
found out my friend also talked to this same lady. So yeah, we was always down there together talking to her about my anger issues I ain't have. But I guess it kind of helped a little bit because it didn't. Once she found out I didn't have anger issues, she made me talk about other things. So yeah, I kind of like counseled out a little bit, slight amount.
How do I deal? Oh, my major issue is anxiety. So, and it is actually kind of rough to deal with anxiety because you never really know what's gonna trigger an anxiety attack. I've had an anxiety attack triggered by One Piece before. It's
That's
like-
possible.
because like it's really fucking sad. And I was sitting there watching One Piece, happy, and then I end up having an existential crisis, and it's just like, yeah, I don't. It's more so you have to learn how to recognize what's going on, and then kind of like help to control yourself and like route it into something that actually helps to calm you down. I actually do meditation.
Good for
And
you.
also for a lot of college campuses nowadays, they have counseling that is free for students, and I took advantage of that while I was actually in college. That is something that I had to make sure I did, because depression and stuff like that, it's a real thing. Because what happened, both of my surrogate grandfather figures died inside the same year because my grandfather died when I was like 4 or 5. I was super super young, and then my father's god uncle basically took over that role, and he died, and then the grandmaster of my martial art died that I was really really close to all in the same year. That was a real shit year, and I didn't realize I was depressed that year until when my father says something's really wrong. Because it's like, man, you are spending like all day in bed. And that's not normal for me. And it was like a subtle jab to be like, something's off. You should probably do something. But, the older generation of us don't really deal with mental health particularly well. It's
Oh no, that's the devil.
African American community, and they feel like, I don't know. Have you ever seen Dope?
Bits and pieces of it.
Like I have.
There's this point in the movie where the female of the actual group of friends she's sitting inside the middle of a group, and they're trying to pray the gay away out of her. And that's what it kind of feels like dealing with the entirety of the older generation. Because it's just like, hell, my mother realizes now that she had more traumas that she needed to deal with, but that took like 4 degrees and like becoming a social worker and dealing with traumatology and all this other stuff. And it's just like looking at it like, damn, I'm pretty fucked up. Huh. But it's like, more so that is just like, but my generation and like millennials and Gen Z in general are kind of looking at it a lot differently because like we kind of have to, or else we're not really gonna make it. So, I mean, I don't know why I always got to go to like the worst of things, but yeah. So I just kind of got some counseling and learned how to deal with anxiety and route it and like kind of, I guess, ground it out if it was like an electrical current.
I went to therapy while I was in the military, and so I saw a therapist once every 2 weeks and then once monthly for like 8 months, and that was cool. I really enjoyed that. I think it's really healthy to have someone that's like a neutral party that has like no real bearing on your life, that you can just go and have a conversation with about all the shit that you dislike or are questioning or concerned about. And even if you don't care about their advice, like just have that like neutral sounding board that where nothing that they say is like offensive to you because you're not like emotionally attached to them. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. What I'd say is I probably, well, speak on just like illness in the black community or like mental whatnot. Probably should have ended up in some more therapy outside of what the school gave me. Because realistically, like, perfect example of how black people deal with things. They didn't know how to deal with me, so they just let me be. And I guess here I am.
I think military should have more like access to therapy and like just talking to therapists, because what they told me that I had was like a failure to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it was really a failure to adjust. It's just there's no one to really like talk to that doesn't like control your entire life, and you're in a situation where anything I do on the outside, on vacation, all has ramifications on the inside of my life. And so sure, if you live in a straight and narrow, it should be fine. But niggas make mistakes, and your mistake can cost you like your livelihood, and that's stressful. And it was no one out here that I could talk to that was really like understanding of that. They're like, well, yeah, I gotta work too. No, you don't understand. It's not about the fact that I have to go to work. It's the fact that I go to work, then I go home, and I gotta get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go run. Your job doesn't make you go run at 6 in the morning.
Yeah, the fuck it does. Nope. I'm not doing
They
that.
don't tell you that you gotta wear a certain
Mm-mm.
attire
I'm good.
and can't be on your phone at certain times in your day when you're not at work.
I don't
You
need
can't
none of
walk
that.
across the street and be looking at your phone.
You want to trigger my anxiety? That right there. See, that's why. See, I knew me going to the military would have been a bad idea, cause it's too much control. I can't function in an environment. It's not even you telling me what to do. It's like I don't have the freedom to. Nah, that would have been an anxiety trip. I would have flipped the hell out. I would have lost my shit.
You know, that shit was terrible. So yeah, no. It was nice to have someone that I could talk to and just like express that. But yeah, definitely you have people who
Neutral parties.
neutral parties, but it's like even there in the military, it's shunned where it's like, oh, you don't talk about that. You keep your mental health issues to yourself, and it's a hold up and shut up and don't say anything,
Yeah,
Which is terrible.
that's no good.
I feel like
I will say dealing with them and not knowing how to deal with them is a tragic situation.
yeah.
Is dealing with it as it comes.
Oh yeah, the first anxiety attack is freaking terrible. Because it feels like the entire world is like a meteor's falling down on your head and you have no idea what to do. And I didn't realize that there were anxiety attacks. Because I've had them basically from the time I was a kid, which is, I guess, not unusual, but they manifested to the point where it's just like they started messing with me to the point where my body didn't, like, I had severe stomach issues. There were days I just couldn't go to school and we didn't really get why. It would manifest as headaches and stress, and eventually it just kind of all got rooted out to the point like, oh, well, you were bullied in elementary school, that caused a lot of anxiety, and now you just kind of don't know how to deal with it. And it's just like it's kept going until I learned how to reroute that anxiety into something that kind of evens it out. And martial arts kind of even things out for me. And the problem is that doesn't really work for a lot of, not that it doesn't work for a lot of people, but one person's solution will never work for everybody. Like the way Marcus is going to deal with his anxiety isn't the same way I'm going to deal with mine. Like, that's just not the way it works.
Oh yeah, not at all.
And like in the community wise, as African Americans, we don't really know how our parents, my mother gets it now, but in the long term they didn't get it when I was a kid.
No, because back then it was like you said, it was either pray it away, you beat it away, or you just ignore it. It's one of the three options.
You can't ignore like
No, you can't. You're not supposed to. You shouldn't. But those literally are like that's literally what it was.
Yep. And this is how you end up inside a situation where you have a lot of kids that don't know how to deal with stuff, and they end up like committing suicide, unfortunately, and stuff like that. And then they're like, it's so weird when you deal with stuff like that, because it's like you look at the families and it's just like, well, now we can say the warning signs were all over the place, but back then like we had no clue, and we just kind of, and families always end up framing it until it's just like, damn, we completely and totally screwed our son, and then everyone ends up like unhappy and sad, and then people get divorced, and like our inability to deal with this core function within ourselves and like treat these things is like it branches out to the entirety of the culture, even in the music that we listen to.
What do you think, Ash?
I don't feel good.
Okay.
Would you like to stop? Okay. Well, we will take a stoppage and throw a flag on the play. We'll be back.
So, this has been Conscious Reconstruction.
I'm Charles or JC.
I'm happy that he's going with the JC. He's getting used to it.
All right, JC.
You gotta embrace it.
I-
Embrace the way.
He not gonna embrace it next time. Watch. He not gonna say this on Sunday. Anyways, logical. Go on.
Yeah, and this has been Conscious Reconstruction. And make sure you get your mental health checked.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let
Don't let it slip.
Yeah, don't let it slip.
And don't let the people
Don't push
talk
it
you out
off.
of it.
Yeah, no, it's important. And
People are generally stupid. Don't
therapy
listen to them.
is something that can be a useful tool, even if you
Mhm.
don't want to go into the office with everything that's happening. Like, you probably can find like some Zoom things and other there's talk space, all kinds of outlets that you can reach out to get you started on your mental health journey. So, all right, be safe, y'all. Don't suck too many dicks out there.